It's 7:01. So I'm going to dive in very quickly, just to make sure that we're right on schedule. Um, Good evening, everyone, and thank you very much for making it to our very first summit. It's really exciting to see all of you here. Before we get into the program, I would like to say I'll share just a little bit about Obaasema, who we are, and what the brand is, and what the event is about. So Obaasema is a lifestyle brand for today's African women. Our goal is to help women embrace a clean lifestyle that fosters emotional, mental, spiritual, and physical well-being. Um, this summit is part of, our goal to, or our mission to build an experience sharing community for, African women to connect with others, in the hopes of, or in the way that sort of, drives growth, whether it's, in business, career, or well-being. And so before we get into our chats with the panelists, I think that it's really important for us to just go over the agenda for the night, so that everyone is sort of, everyone's expectations is managed. So just please give me a second while I share my screen so that we can go over that. And before we get to the agenda, I would like to remind everyone that we have a hashtag that we're using, which is Obaasema Summit. So whether you're on Instagram or Twitter, please use the hashtag Obaasema Summit. And I'll be providing an email, our email address as well. Since this is a business event, it would be really great if, after the event, you have business related questions that you would want us to sort of, tackle in the next event. We'll be happy to do that. So kindly give me a second while I share my screen. So like I said, I wanted to just let everyone know the hashtag that we're using, our email address for you to email us after the event, and then also our social media handle for you to follow us for future events and also to interact with us. The title of this summit, or this event, is how to turn your business strategies and planning into actionable steps. And I'll be introducing our panelists really soon. So within the first 5 minutes, of course, is the address or welcome notes, which I've already done. Panelist introduction comes up soon, and then right after the panelist introductions, we go into the discussions. Now there'll be a Q&A session for you to ask, your questions to the panelists. Now, considering the amount of time that we have, it would be great for you to type in your questions into the chat box, and I would pick all the questions and ask the panelists. So then, there'll be that dialogue. If there's enough time, of course, it will be open for you to have a one-on-one with the panelists as well. And then 8 p.m. is when the summit ends. And so I will be going straight into our, panelists to introduce themselves. We do have Mariam Gwede here with us. Hi, Mariam. Hi. And then there is Koko Aisa as well. Okay, so we'll be going to Mariam. Mariam, if you could please do your introductions, and then we can jump into the discussions.
Hi guys, my name is Mariam. I'm located in Hamburg, Germany, and I'm the CEO and founder of Mia Cosa, which is a self-care beauty brand. And I'm actually selling shea butter in the European region. And I have scented candles, also including shea butter. And I've been selling my products since March 2020, so pretty new on the market. But I felt there was definitely a need in Europe that, there's like a beauty brand for Black people, including, because sometimes when you go to the store here and you try to find the moisturizing cream for our skin, it was nowhere to be found. So this was the reason why I started it. And also just the background from myself, I'm originally from Togo, West Africa. And I'm just, this product, Shea Butter, I've been using it since I can remember. So my mom has been using it on my skin when I was a baby. So I was always familiar with it. And I just wanted to make sure that it's also accessible in Germany and in Europe.
Great. Thank you so much, Mariam. So can we go straight into you sharing your story? I know that you've sort of like touched on a little bit of it, as you did your introduction. So can you please share a bit about your story, what your journey has been, and then also what practical, tips that you can provide, or, based on your experiences as a business owner, selling or, producing the kinds of products that you produce. I'm just gonna give everyone a heads up. I have toddlers in the house. And so if you hear little kids crying, excuse me, but this is part of, working from home. But yeah, so Mariam, can we please go straight into your story, and then the kinds of things that you've experienced that have sort of, strengthened you and sort of gotten you over that phase in your journey.
Yeah, sure, of course. So everything started in 2017, where I, I finished my studies. I finished university. I lived in the United States, and when I came back, I quickly realized I cannot work a 9-to-5 job. But that was not the reason why I started my business. It was just like another push that I could actually introduce my idea to the market. So in 2017, I started researching, okay, how can I start my own beauty brand? And it all started with me calling the health department here in Germany, because over here it's not really that easy to sell your cosmetics and everything. You have to have certain regulations met, and you have to have some certifications. And so it's like a hassle, to be honest. But I went through all of this because I just saw a need for my product, or for whatever I'm bringing to the market. And then what happened was that I finished all of the labeling, and I had my logo ready and everything with my name that I choose in the beginning. And then another company said that my name is close to their name, which means that I would have to either change my name, my brand name, or I should basically pay them my revenues, or like portions of my revenues. So what I would always say, do your research, check out if there's a company named closely to your name. And if there's like there could be like a conflict, because like here, especially here in Germany, there's always like how do you? There are companies who are specialized in looking if there are any names that are the same as your name, and then, for example, you couldn't name yourself Coco Chanel, or things like that. So you have to always be careful. But yeah, going back onto why I even introduced this, I touched on this earlier. I just saw a need, and also the results now that I'm seeing. I know that I was not alone with my need when it comes to healthcare beauty products. So yeah, another thing that I would also mention is that do something that you really love, create something that you feel like you need yourself, so you can have this thought of, okay, can I do that, can I do my thing that I'm doing in the next for the next 10 to 20, 30 years, so that you don't lose passion for it. So this is something that I would definitely recommend to go into yourself and check out what you actually want to do, have a vision. And I'll always say, find your why. Why are you doing? Why are you creating? So you stick to it and make other people happy.
So Mariam, story is really interesting, and I thought the really interesting part is what you said about coming up with a business name, and then finding out that someone else already had it, and them expecting you to actually pay for the property before you can actually move. And I mean, as I'm sure as a small business owner or a new entrepreneur, I mean, where are you going to get that money from? So I'm happy to hear that of course did not deter you from, you know, actually pursuing your passion. But I think that one thing that what I would like for you to share is what exactly, you know, did you do? Like what if I were a small business owner, if I were a new entrepreneur, and I wanted to, you know, I wanted to start a business, or I have the idea of starting something, but don't really know how to, you know, go about it. I may have a plan or, you know, a strategy to say, you know, this is what I want to do. How do I sort of push myself and motivate myself to ensure that I actually make it happen? Because I think that that is one of the toughest things for a lot of people who desire to start a business, right? You have the idea, you have the desire, but to actually move it to the next level is an issue. So for you,
Yeah.
as an entrepreneur, how did you do that?
Okay, so first, there's always like the question of also money. How do you finance your idea? How you finance your business? So in my case, I worked full time. So I bootstrapped, it's called. So basically, whatever I earned, I put into my business. So this is, you know, a way to yeah, finance your idea in this case. And also, oh sorry, okay. And also figure out if your idea is suitable for the market. You can always ask your friends and family, and also people that you might not know. Um, I always say there's no way that someone could actually steal your idea, because you are making your idea. So you are making your product, you are making your brand. So there's always like yeah, it's always the person behind the business, I would say. And how to go around to have your own business. The regulations, for example, here, we have like a company that's specified in explaining how to start your business. And I would always talk to someone who already created their own business. So in this case, if you ask me, I would always say, just go for it. If you have the financial means, if you have, you know, the idea, just go for it, and don't wait for any specific time, because I always think that if you go for it, if you start on it, then you will see what you need to change, or if the idea is actually not feasible for the market.
That's really interesting, Miriam. But so I have one other question. How, like, how do you go for it? You know what I mean? Like, how do you go for it? I know that you're talking about having chats with people who have actually, you know, started their own businesses. But I think that, you know, a lot of times that could also be, it could be a bit of a challenge because their experiences could be a bit different from yours. You know, what they might be exposed to might not be what you're exposed to. So in terms of what if, you know, you're financially strapped, you know, you have all these ideas but you don't have the money. Will talking to another entrepreneur who has actually made things happen for them benefit you, and how would it?
So you can always like contact investors. I know that, for example, me personally, I have not done that, but I'm starting on it. So I've researched, and of course, I think that you have to knock on some doors. That's the only thing that I can say. You just have to, you know, pitch your idea, tell the investors, okay, this and this you have planned, and this is what is coming down the line. So just be open with your idea. And if 100 people say no, there will be one person from that 100 that will, you know, support your idea and say, okay, I'll give you some financial assistance. But here also, this doesn't stop with one. So you still have to continue, talk to people, increase your networking skills and your network in general, that you will actually be able to have this financial help. And also there's another way where you can actually, you know, get someone else on the boat. So if you say that you have a business idea and you know someone, or you have a friend that is also interested in it, and you don't mind sharing your business idea with them so that it can actually start with you, then you're already two people. And maybe the other person has, you know, some financial stability where they can help out, and then has some parts of the company. This is also a way that you can, you know, start your business when the financials are not there.
That makes a lot of sense, and thank you so much for that. I just want to get a bit into Miakosa.
Mhm.
I know that, yeah, you know, a lot of people have a love for shea butter. Why did you choose shea butter? Why not, you know, something else?
I guess because I grew up with shea butter, and this was always something that we had in our house. And when I started it, I was thinking, okay, what is something that I really love? What do I cannot get enough of? And what can I still do or stand behind when it's, you know, 30, 40 years down the line? This is like just products, shea butter products, and, you know, scented candles, things that I really enjoy myself. Because I think that when I'm selling something, I want to be sure that I love it myself, because then I can actually, yeah, sell it in that case. Because um, share what is just like, I call it liquid gold. And I also wanted to connect my two worlds, which means since I was born in Germany, but my family is from Togo, I live basically in two worlds. I know that in Togo, I'm just there for like once a year, but these are two realities that are surrounding or are inside of me, and I wanted to connect both of them. And that's why I decided to yeah, create the or sell shea butter here in Germany. And I think here it is not as widespread as in Africa, which I don't understand because it should be. Yeah, that was the idea behind it. And I also wanted to make sure that the females that are producing the shea butter are fairly paid, so that they are not, you know, that I'm not spending less money or anything like that, that I'm paying them fairly. This was really, really important when it came to yeah, shea butter business, because I also tried to once I was able to actually help the ladies. I was there in the village, and it was hard work. I had to like after that day, I had to sleep for, it felt like 5 days to recover. So that's why it's like really important for them, for us, to pay them fairly.
Okay. Oh well, that's interesting. I have a connection to shea butter. So all of my kids shea butter. I don't use anything else on them from the moment I've had them till now. So I love shea butter. I use it on my skin, and I believe in the organics and the natural way of
Yeah,
doing things. So yeah, big ups to you. Thank you so much for sharing your story, Mariam,
sure.
and for just giving us those tips. So we would be going over to our second panelist, Coco Aisa. Hi, Coco.
Hi guys, so sorry for being late. You will not believe.
Hi, it's okay, it's okay. We're having a chat, so that's good. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You've had a good weekend.
Yes, busy, but yes.
All right, great. So please introduce yourself. I know that our audience have already seen all of your bios, but it would be great for you to give, you know, a short brief about yourself, who you are, what you do, so that we can quickly go into your story and, you know, how your story has sort of, you know, shaped the tips that you would be sharing with us today.
So my name is Kwokwa Aisa. I am, I guess, known in Ghana for having a natural hair salon, the first natural hair salon in Ghana. And we began in 2009, September. So we're in our 12th year, which is quite long, even though it doesn't feel that way. Begun with just a desire to give people a professional environment for them to do hair. Obviously, traditionally, we do natural hair in Ghana, all of Africa. But what we were used to, or what I was used to, or what I was experiencing was that people would be in informal settings. You would go, things wouldn't be clean, things wouldn't be sterilized, and just there was a general lack of acceptance of natural hair. So the decision was more of what can I do, or how can I replicate what I'd seen outside Ghana here in Ghana, give people the option of having a place where they can have their natural hair taken care of. And so that meant that I would need to invest in training people, invest in an environment, and to God's glory, we have two locations, one in East Legon, a part of Accra, and then one in Osu. And recently, we are working on a lifestyle brand extension. So that's going into shea butter stuff like Miriam. That's a big market. Yeah, because body care, it's part of the whole wellness thing. Once you're interested in natural hair, you start to think about or talk about skin, body, what you eat. And so it's a whole lifestyle. So that's what I'm working on right now. Thank you.
That's really exciting, Coco. It's funny, like it looks like we're all like shea butter connectors here. So can you take us through your journey as an entrepreneur? I know that, yes, you're known to be the first, to have established the first natural hair salon in Ghana. But how has that experience been like for you? What has that journey been like for you? You know, we want to hear a bit of the highs and the lows. I know that we don't have a lot of time, but it would be great to sort of like, you know, hear what your journey has been and how you've been able to sort of, you know, overcome the hurdles and, you know, specific tips and tricks that you would give to someone who is also considering perhaps, you know, starting a natural hair salon, and whether it's in, you know, Nigeria or Kenya or, you know, Congo or wherever they may be. How do they go about doing that? And how did you even get the guts to say, you know, I'm going to start my own salon, you know, considering the capital, you know, the capital that you would need to start such a business, and how to keep it running, managing a team, you know, and I love the two different situations because you're in Ghana and Miriam is in Germany. So they're two different markets, sort of,
Okay.
right? And so I would like to hear the local experience as well and how that has been for you.
Okay, thank you. So I think in many ways, being in Ghana has been a huge advantage in the sense that my philosophy is you just need to begin. What does that mean? If you have an idea, if you have a dream, if you have a passion, you can do one of two things. You can decide that you wait until you have all the resources being all the money, all the sort of skill, all the knowledge before you begin. But the opportunity that being in a country like Ghana affords us is that you can begin with a minimum viable product. So, or someone would say affordable loss. So I began by looking at it this way. I wanted to start a business. I looked at a number of industries and I said, I have a few friends who have natural hair. So why don't I do a natural hair salon? It was literally that. I saw that there was a need in the market and I have a few friends. So in my mind, if I have 5, 6, 7 people, that's a business. Not really realistic. But what it meant is that I also felt comfortable enough to just begin with the little that I had. I sometimes share the story of how I would I took chairs from my mom's house and just basically just took what I had to set up a place. Now, it's not as fancy, it's not as polished as people want to do it these days, but you have to remember, this was in 2009. So we didn't have social media in this way. We didn't really have all the pressures of doing a big launch and all that. All that needed to happen, or all that I thought I needed to do was just have my product out there, have my service out there. And so that's the approach that I took. So from my end, it was a matter of, I need to be able to have a location. There's some basic things that I needed because it's natural hair: combs, hair dryer, shampoo sink, styling chairs. So once I had those basic things, I even painted the decorations, the wall decor myself. Once I had the basic things, remember, I was also targeting my friends. I'm like, okay, we're good to go. With that in mind, I wasn't being super tough on myself saying, oh, everything needs to be perfect. I just said, let's see if this will even work. Let's see if people will even show up. By the end of the first year, I realized that I had struck gold because not only were people coming, but they were referring their friends. People were coming from outside Ghana. Whenever people would visit, they would also come over. So that made me realize that, okay, this is something really viable. This is something I can do. And then I began to reinvest. And then I began to invest in the space. So right now, our current 2 locations are pretty nice, if I can say so myself. Obviously got nicer, bigger space, more spacious. I now knew what was important to have, what was necessary to have. I also then was able to customize the space to suit our needs, and also make sure that the stylists would be comfortable, things like that. In terms of the challenges, I would say finding the human capital, the staff, that has and will forever continue to be a challenge. If you are in a field that doesn't require skill, then you're lucky. But when you're doing hair, you need people who have the skill. So you need a very basic level of skill. And then what I do is I tend to train people to bring them up to the twist and lock standard. That means you have to have time. That means you have to be willing to pay people to be able to do the right work. I bring that up because when I first began, I have a 9 to 5. So this is a business that I have. So even though I'm an entrepreneur, I have a 9 to 5. I don't call it a side hustle because it's big enough that I can actually work there full time. But I'm passionate about both, so I don't deny my 2 selves. One of the things that I was doing is that because I was doing it on the side, I was thinking of it as a side thing. I wasn't being very serious with it. So I didn't hire the best people, meaning instead of getting an accountant, I said, oh, I can do the accounting myself. I can do the bookkeeping myself. Instead of hiring someone who was qualified as a manager, I said, oh, no, I just need someone who has a basic education and the person can be at the front. But what that meant is that people's experience of the salon, of the brand, at some point was suffering because they would come in and the service and the level of the service expectation that they had wasn't being met because the person who I had hired was not up to standard. And if you have a business and someone on your team isn't performing, it's up to you to either increase the person's skill, upskilling, or replace the person. And I think that's something that I've learned early on, and I stick to a lot because yes, money is a limited resource, but then I'd rather spend $10 to get a $100 business than spend $5 for a $100 business. Because at the end of the day, the difference in someone who is $10, as in someone I'm paying $10 and $5 can be huge. Can be, it depends on what the role is, but it can be huge. And your business can take a hit because you are being cheap or you are not investing in the right people that will represent your brand well. I must say that now with social media, even though people are forgiving, the internet always remembers. So it's true that you can sort of begin with, the bare minimum, but people remember when they've had a bad experience. So as much as possible, when you have an initial encounter with someone, and mind you, this is the service industry, it needs to be such that people have a great impression and they are willing to come back. Okay, so I'm wondering if I covered all, because you were asking about the challenges that I face. So human capital was a big one, and I'd say that was bigger than the financial resources. Right. And I think also that dedication to and commitment and focus on the business, because once you think of your business as a small business or a side hustle, you tend not to be very serious in your approach. And so that can be expensive in the long run, because there are certain things that I didn't do that I should have done had I taken the business seriously, more seriously then.
Interesting. I mean, I have lots of questions written here, and I'm gonna make sure that I give everyone else a chance to ask questions. But this is also gonna go to everyone. Please, if you have any questions for Coco and Miriam, please start typing them into the chat box. I will be picking the questions and asking it to them. So please start, sending in your questions into the chat box if you have any. So Coco, I think the first one that I want to ask you is about the side hustle, because I think that a lot of people experience this, right? So you do have a 9 to 5, but also you do have a passion that could potentially transform into an actual business, right? How are you able to sort of, make both serious, I wouldn't say ventures, because your 9 to 5 is not necessarily a venture, it is your 9 to 5, but how do you make your business venture is serious,
viable,
exactly, viable?
Okay, so I took some notes down. I just wanted to be a little systematic with this. So I have 7 steps. The first one I said is stop. Stop researching, stop consuming content, stop reading motivational speeches, stop doing all the research. Just stop, because we're in an era where you can get into the, oh, I'm researching phase. Oh, I'm finding out more. I'm doing market research. Oh, I'm trying to learn more. I'm trying to understand the market. And that, I think, sometimes can be one of the biggest challenges that we face. Because we're so busy trying to consume content and looking at what someone else is doing, you don't begin yours. I'm lucky. When I began, there was nothing going on in terms of social media. We had, I don't know, I mean, yes, Facebook existed, but barely. So it wasn't that much competition. Or even if there was competition, I wasn't aware of it. What I would do is I would look at people in the US or in other countries who were doing it the way I wanted to, and I had 1 or 2 benchmarks, and I just said, right, we're going to begin. So stop all the background research. Where you are, do you have enough to begin? So the second thing is write down the vision. So whatever your goal is, whatever your vision is, whatever the big idea is, try and describe it. Now, when you try and describe it, you can do it in Word, you can do it in PowerPoint, you can draw it out, but you need to actually put it down on paper. Because if you don't put it down on paper, whenever anyone asks you, you end up describing, and you describe everything and it misses the point. So when you actually put it down, which is something I did and I still do, put down what you want to do on paper. Once you write it down, then it's clear that, okay, so this is the goal. This is what I want to do. Now, once you have your goal, then how close are you to begin? What's your minimum viable product? How close are you? Meaning, do you have, let's say you want to start, I won't use the hair salon. Let's, I don't know, Abna, can you give me a business that we can look at?
Let's say you want to start a shoe company.
A shoe company, okay. So you want to start a shoe company, but you're not going to be Kate Spade. So where are you? You have a basic design. Do you have a prototype? If you don't have a prototype, then what you need to do is say, I have these designs. Which design do I think I can break into the market with? Now, it might not be your bestseller, but it might be the one that people will look at and say, that's interesting. So once you've identified one product, just one thing that you want to begin with, then the next thing I have is estimate how long it will take you to get it ready to go live. Now, these are very much oriented towards going out there, because sometimes what we do is we talk about the idea, we talk about the products, but we never ever actually get to executing it. And I'm an execution person. My goal is I can talk about the idea, but until I've actually gone out there, found someone to make the prototype for me, or because I can say, oh, wait, I need to learn how to make the shoes. You don't need to learn how to make the shoes now. You can get someone who is skilled at that to make a prototype for you. Until you get the prototype ready, you don't even know if you have a product. Once you get the prototype ready, then you can say, okay, is this something that I can charge $50 for, $20 for, $40 for? So the key is, once you have your minimum, this is the product I want to go out with, then you estimate when you can actually go live. So I would say give yourself 2 months. 2 months, month 1, you break it down and say, month 1, I need to have my prototype ready. Month 2, I need to be able to have at least 5 pairs of that and then sell. Now, when you have those deadlines, those monthly sort of checks and balances, it will let you know that you have to move. Because sometimes we can be talking about an idea, we can be saying, oh, I'm getting the plan ready, oh, I'm getting the product, but we actually never get to sell. Because until you go to the market with a product and say, this is my shoe, I'm selling it for $50. You don't know whether you have a product or not. When you actually go out there and say, I'm selling it for $50, you might get feedback, which is, oh, wow, this is amazing. You can even sell it for 100. Oh, wow, this is amazing, but 50 is too much. Oh my, this is amazing, but it's just like the shoe I saw down the street. And then what do? You take that information and you come back. So if you are able to put something out there, then you can take the information based on that and come back and adjust. The software people call it, what is it? I think it's the beta stage, beta testing. But I think people don't do that often enough. And if you are someone who has a 9 to 5, it's a quick way to actually know if what you're thinking of doing is actually viable or not. Because you can quit your business and say, oh, I have this amazing idea, and you run out of money and go back to work at the 9 to 5. There's no glory in that. At the end of the day, you need to know that what you actually are interested in, or the idea that you have, is feasible, is viable. It can actually earn money. There's an amazing podcast I listened to, Side Hustle, I think it's Side Hustle Chick. And one of the things that she talks about is that she had her podcasting as a side hustle for, I think, maybe 3-4 years before she quit her job. I don't even know if she quit her job or she was laid off and then she had to figure it out. But the reality is, sometimes even what you think you can make from your side business is not enough to pay you or to sustain you. And so we need to be smart about this. I mean, at the end of the day, yes, I have an idea, it's a great idea, but until you actually have established that this is something I can sell, I can actually make money from it, you want to calm down and keep your 9 to 5. In terms of balance, I would say that you need to put systems in place. And that's something that I did partially. Partially because, yes, I had a system where I would go to the salon in the mornings on my way to work, and I'll go there after work, and I'll go there on the weekends. But I say partial because what happens when I'm not around? What happens when I have to travel? What happens when there's an emergency, I'm not well? I had no visibility. So early on, I put in a system in terms of how to track sales. And I put up a notice saying, when customers come in, they should insist on receipts. Now it might seem like, well, that's such a small thing. But over the years, we had so many issues of theft from the workers, from the stylists, from the people at the front desk, from the managers, because at the end of the day, I didn't have any systems in place. I didn't have the right controls in place. And so they could basically come and take the money. And each mistake each time that happened, that was an expensive lesson, but it also made me smarter. So I would say put systems in place. You need to put systems in place such that when you're not at your side hustle, it can run without you. That might also mean that you hire people who are competent enough. So if you are the one person who needs to be there for the business to go on, it's not a business, it's a hobby. Because if it's a business, you don't need to be there. In the sense that you might play a role, but your role is not so critical that if you're not there, everything goes everything runs on a standstill. So yeah, I think those are the key things I'd say.
Okay, well, Coco, thank you so much. This is really good. I mean, I have a couple of questions, but I think I'm not going to be selfish. I mean, I have access to you, so I can talk to you later after that. I'm just going to give other people an opportunity to get their questions in. So I have a couple of questions from One Nay Okay. The first goes to Miriam, and the second to you, Coco. So Miriam, I'm going to shoot the first to you. So it says, Miriam, where is your main market? Where do you make your products? In Germany or in Ghana?
So my main market is Europe, especially here in Germany. And I import my product from Togo and Ghana. Okay. So I am getting it shipped and getting it produced here. So I put all the ingredients in a laboratory here in Germany. And also put then the product into a glass jar, which I then sell online.
Okay, all right, great. So there's a follow-up question, which I think that you have already answered, that if your market and production is in Ghana, how do you handle the business being away? But I think this is still relevant too. Because I know that, you're doing some outside of Ghana, outside of Germany. So how do you ensure that, all of the processes are being, managed well, and that they're actually meeting expectations?
Okay, so I said, like, everything is produced in one place. So there's so I don't have to take care of different companies who actually produce my product. It's just one company, and I distribute it then from one place. So the quality is always then the same.
Right. Do you have other products available outside of Germany?
Yeah, of course. So I also
do you ship outside Germany? Okay.
Yes, I do. Not Africa, unfortunately, as of now, because when I wanted to start it, COVID came, and then so the borders are closed. So sorry. But yeah, I also sell, or I get orders in from France, England, but mainly it is Europe where I sell my product.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you. So question to Coco, how long did it take for you to break even after you started?
So because I started with fairly low overheads, by the end of the first year, I was actually breaking even. So it's later on that I began investing more, and then things changed.
Got it.
Yeah. So it didn't take too long for me.
Too long. Okay. Would you say that your investments and the kind of the approach that you took helped you to break even that quickly in terms of
and that's
yeah,
but then you see what I was saying is that was 2009, so that was a different time in terms of social media, in terms of competition and all that.
Yeah,
I definitely acknowledge that times have changed now, and what Miriam is talking about is it's a process that is quite tedious, and it's something that might be more applicable now, because with what she's saying, she works with a facility. So there's a certain amount of investment that she has to do even before she has the product out. I mean, she has to buy a certain quantity of shea butter, all the ingredients, ship it there, have to pay something to them. So that also puts her on a certain stand. But you also know that there are people who also make shea butter products, who do it at home with a small batch thing. So someone who decides to do that would break even faster. So I tend not to focus on break even. I look more at, is it sustainable? Because what it means is that Miriam can scale faster. If she decides that she wants to advertise on Instagram or on some big platform, the moment her orders come in, the facility can produce to meet that. However, if you're just a two-person team and you're making the shea butter yourself, you can't afford to advertise, because then you'll be backed up with orders and you're mixing it. No. So
yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, I have to quickly, at first I tried to do like in my own kitchen, but then I realized it's not allowed here in Germany to actually do that. So I was just there in my kitchen trying to figure out things, but it's not feasible to actually cover all the orders if you do it on your own. So
yeah.
Interesting. Thank you guys. So another question from Ayoade Odunsanya. It says, hello, good evening. My question for the speakers is, how were they able to define success after the first year? This is a good one.
I think I define success as the repeat business and the referrals, because business grew remarkably. And I think for me, I knew it was a success when we became the reference point. Anybody who had natural hair in Accra, 2009, 2010, 2011, when you mentioned Twist and Locks, they had been there or they knew about it. And that for me was a big deal, because it was the first time that people would actually be able to say my name and say natural hair. So that was amazing.
Okay.
And for me, it's similar. So first, when I get a second order from the same customer, this is already like, yes, woo, that makes me happy. And then the continuous order from the same people, because this just shows that they really enjoy the product and that they are actually putting in more orders in for the same product. It's just so valuable to me. that this is already success for me. So I guess everybody defines it themselves or differently, but this is already success for me.
Great. So I have a question from Chinyere Michael Essay. So what is the best way to deal? I think this would go for, to either of you. What is the best way to deal with competitors, especially when it comes to pricing? From the experience I have had with packaging and branding, all are built into the price. And there are people who sell for less. So how do you make a reasonable profit?
Initially, you attempted to say, okay, this is my packaging, this is the cost, this is my margin. So the question I'll ask is, can you reduce your margin a little bit? Because sometimes if you're a new business, you want to be able to come onto the market and people to try you before you have your price be so high that it excludes. But at the same time, you know what you've invested in it. So if you are not making like a ridiculous margin, say everything costs you $20 and you're charging $50. If it's not something that ridiculous, or maybe you're doing like, okay, everything costs you $20 and charging 25, and it is way above everybody else, then you might need to look at where you're getting your items from. But I always say that branding is amazing because there are people who charge more than we do as a salon, and they have clients. It depends on the service that they're getting. It depends on the full package. You can't just take price in isolation and try and compare sometimes.
I can totally agree with what you said, Coco. And also, when it comes to competitors, sometimes, of course, I know that they are there, but I try not to focus so much on them. So I try to focus on, okay, where can I save money when I print the labels? Where can I save money when I print the packaging and everything? But my focus is really just, my product and not what other people are doing. And of course, I need to find the right pricing, but I always make sure that my expenses for one product is covered. So I don't, have invested in something that I'm selling cheaper just because my competitor is also selling it at $2 or €2 or something. This is just like something that I go, that I make sure of. But yeah, so this is just me.
Thank you, ladies. This is really good. And I know that the first Chinyere actually says right. So, I guess you're right on. We don't have any other questions, but I would want to ask you guys if our audience don't have if there are no new questions in yet. This is to you, Coco. So I know that, when you started your story, you did say that, oh yeah, you didn't have everything, but you started really small, right? And you put together the little that you have to make it happen. Were you thinking about revenue then, or was it just passion that sort of, drove you to do it? Because I know sometimes, when you have an idea or desire to do something, sometimes you get so excited about the idea that you would want to sort of make it happen and then not really start focusing on the revenue or profit aspects of it. So what drove you to say, you know what, I don't have everything that I need, but I'm just going to make this happen in the smallest way possible?
I think you're right. It's passion. When I began, I wasn't really thinking about the price. I wasn't thinking about money. I didn't really think about, oh, I'm going to make so much money from this and quit my day job. No, it was more of, there's a gap in the market. This is something that is needed. So why don't I do that? But when I needed to expand, when I needed to get to a larger facility, I invested real money. So I actually had to take out a loan, a personal loan from work, and I put that in. So the moment I did that, I got serious. And that's, for me, that was my tipping point. That was my inflection point, because yes, I was making money with the existing facility and all. But once I invested into the business, I realized, okay, now I need to look properly at my pricing. I need to look properly at my team. I need to look properly at whether I have an accountant, because the money has to come back. So I definitely need to make sure it's working. So the advantage I had is I was able to save quite a bit because I was in a smaller place for I think about 3-4 years. And at that point, I was just, making money. So I didn't really think much about it. So with that money saved, I was able to invest, and I still took a loan. So then I got serious.
So what would you say to the person who is, sort of loan averse and very like, scared of taking loans because not everyone is that open to taking loans, right? So how do you manage that?
So I believe in what the people in the US do, friends and family, and you basically hit up your friends and family, obviously, after you have shown that you have a viable business. You don't approach people when you don't actually have a business going. So you need to put your own money in first. I began the business by putting my savings. I had saved and then I began. So if you have saved and you begin and it's working, when you ask people, even some of your clients would be like, oh, that's interesting. I'm interested in that. Okay, how can we help? Then you can come to an arrangement or an agreement with them. But I'm totally against people just saying, oh, I have an idea. Can you lend me money or can you support me? That doesn't work. Most of the time, they haven't really tested the idea. They don't know if it will work. And so they are hoping that it will work. You don't experiment with someone else's money. You do that with your own money. You figure out what will work, and when you have a viable business, then you can approach people and take only as much as you need so that you can pay back. And if people want to invest in you and say, okay, this is for free, you take it, but then let them see that you have actually used it to grow the business, because then they appreciate their gift to you.
Thank you so much, Coco. One last question. This is from Wane. Okay, so this is to Coco. Did you know how to make hair when you began?
People sometimes get confused. I'm like, no, but I know what good hair looks like. So that was enough for me. So I think the skill that I have is being able to teach. So when a stylist is working on my hair, which was my experience when I first came and I had natural hair and I couldn't get any help anywhere, I would tell them, no, not like this, like that, like that. And this was before the craze of YouTube. Right now with YouTube, you can learn everything. So no one really has an excuse. But before I had no idea. But when someone is doing the hair, I would say, no, I think we should try this. So it was very much a lot of experimentation. So yeah, you really don't need to know. Miriam is laughing because she knows it's true.
Yeah, the same thing. So also when it comes to like skincare products, I had no idea. I just knew shea butter was good, but I had no idea how the skin works and how it absorbs. I had no idea. So yeah, that's why I'm laughing.
Thank you, ladies. That was really, really good. I don't think we have any more questions coming through, but we just 3 minutes till this ends. But thank you so much, Coco, Miriam, for your time. Thank you so much, everyone who has joined us for this session. It's been amazing. And I hope that, all of you have gotten a chance to sort of, take some nuggets with you. Hopefully for the next summit, we would make it a bit longer to be able to ask as many questions as possible. But just like I stated at the beginning of this, if you have any questions, please send them through. I am going to pull up. Okay, Coco. Coco has a question. Okay, go ahead, please.
No, not a question. I have a challenge. Okay. So I want to ask everyone who's joined in today to give themselves a deadline by which to start their business. So in a month, what is it that you can say you have done towards your business? For example, give yourself a month, whatever stage you're in, even if you're just thinking about it. Can you buy a domain? Can you open an Instagram page? Can you get your first order? Something? Because sometimes all you need to do is begin. And I just want to throw that challenge out to you. So you can share that on Obaasema's Instagram page, or you can even send her an email so that she can share with all of us that we know that this is your business and you actually took a step.
So I just put up a slide for everyone who has a question. We would be happy to address it. Our next summit happens next quarter, but it won't be a business one. It will actually be a wellness summit. And then in the third quarter, we'll have another business summit. But we would love to engage with you, answer as many questions as we possibly can. We have access to Coco and Miriam, so We would love to send your questions to them. Our email is contact@obaasema.com. The hashtag we're using for this event is, hashtag Obaasema Summit. You can follow us at Obaasema Africa on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And so please engage with us. Thank you so much for making it to this event. Once again, my name is Abina Eke, and I'm the founder of Obaasema. So thank you once again, and thank you so much, Coco and Miriam. It was fun. I had fun, and I hope that everyone else did, and that everyone else got to take some nuggets with them.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
All right, bye.
Bye.